Okay, so this is going to be, I guess, a tutorial for the basics of just graphing, and in particular, how we want to really think about graphing and functions in this class. Um, and this is a modeling and statistics based course, and it is a very much a calculator driven course. We're encouraging that you use technology effectively to complete the objective, right? So definitely want to have a calculator to work through this problem and vast majority of the other problems in this course. So I am going to show you how you want to go about this using the calculator. So if you don't have a calculator yet, that's something you want to make sure you get a hold of. All right, so again, if you don't have the calculator, then you're gonna have to take your time one by one, in parentheses, plugging everything in for x, and that's not too difficult. I mean, in some ways, it's nice to be able to do that thing, to do something like that, right? Like for instance, well, I'll just do the first one, right? Essentially, what we're doing is we want to know, well, what is y when x is, for instance, -3, right? So I'll say, okay, well, hey, x is -3 then, right? And then what is that y value? Well, I'm taking a negative value, I'm cubing it, and that will give me, in this case, -27. And then I subtract 2 and we get -29. Right? And you can just do that for all of these problems. Now, what we really like to do is get used to some sort of like a spreadsheet type software. In this case, we're using the calculator, where we can just populate all of these y cells with the given input. Right? So if we go to y equals in the calculator, fill in to y equals what they're giving me, x cubed minus 2. So again, y equals, and then if I just highlight the first cell and we plug in that x cubed minus 2. From here, what I would advise everyone do in their calculator is, because we'll be evaluating things a lot, meaning plugging in various values of the x, click on second button, second, and then window, which is the button right above, to the right of second. We want our independent variable right here set to ask, and the default in the calculator has it set to auto. And if you don't set it to ask, you're going to have, in my opinion, a lot harder time doing problems like this. For pretty much most purposes, it's better to have independent variable set to ask, in my opinion. So again, second window, and then set that independent variable to ask, is highlight ask and hit enter. And what that'll allow you to do is that when you go to the table, right, which is where we want to go, you can just delete things if you see stuff in there. Now when I go to the table, according to the settings I just did, instead of having this list automatically populate, I can plug in whatever values I want. And I want to know, like, what happens if x is -3? Right? Well, we already saw it was -29. What if it's -2? What if it's -1? What if it's 0? What if it's 1, 2, 3, right? So we can let the calculator process all that information for us, and then turns out, these will be the answers. In blue is what you'll have to actually submit as far as completing this problem. They want you to just fill out all the y values to complete the table in A. And then I believe, let me check. Yes, they want you to graph this. So, you can look at the graph if you'd like in the calculator, right? Did I put it in there? X squared, x cubed minus 2. And then my window was a little obscure from my previous class. Let's just do a standard window. Look at it in the calculator, and that should give you a general sense of what it is. Now, we have to actually input this graph into MyLabs Plus. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Yeah, we're still recording. Okay, good. So, here is the graphing tool in MyLabs Plus. And one thing you notice is this is a cubic function, right? It's x to the third, x to the third. So you have a couple tools here. You have a line tool, which is just anything linear, anything that's x to the first. You've got a quadratic tool, which is for x squareds, parabolas, anything negative x squared, anywhere the highest order term is x squared. And then you've got this, I guess it's like a general polynomial graphing tool, x to the third, x to the fourth, any other type, x to the third and onwards. So this is x to the third. So we're going to click this thing here, and it wants us to just choose some points. Now, what it means by first, I don't necessarily know if it needs to be like a sequential list like this, but basically meaning like this is the first point, because none of these really count as the first point. Basically, you just want to plot points that work. If you notice, you can't actually plot our first point, -3, -29, because I can go to -3, that's an x value, but I cannot go down to -29, right? It just will not let me go down that far. So that one's out. I can plot -2, -10. Here's -2. Notice in the upper right-hand corner there, it's actually giving you the coordinates, -2, -10. I can plot the next one there, -1, -3, right there. And then I can do 0, -2, which is right here. and then I can do 1, -1. And it turns out that's all we need, right? So in theory, maybe we could have skipped -2, -10, and then instead did the 2, 6. But just plot as many points as you need. It looks like it's going to need 4 to plot these cubic functions. Again, you don't need all of these. You can't plot a few of them. We couldn't have we wouldn't have been able to plot 325 either because it exceeds the parameters of the graph. But that's how you get that graph. Then you just hit save. You check your answer. Hopefully it tells you you're right. And then there was a part B to this. Yeah, so part B says graph the function using the correct window. So if you notice, look, it says x min is -4, x max is 4. So in our calculator, that just means if we go to our window, which is right here, we're setting the parameters for how far left, how far right, how far down, how far up can I see in terms of a graphing window. Right now I can see this is standard, so it should be from -10 to 10, and then from -10 to 10. But if we go to our window settings here, they want us to set our x min to -4. So we'll change that x min to -4. They want us to change our x max to 4. Our y min, we got to change quite a bit. We need to see further down. So we'll go to -35. And we want to see all the way up to +35 on the y-axis. So y max should be set to 35. Now when you go to graph, you'll have a one-to-one depiction of what you need, right? If you had different window settings, you wouldn't be able to pick out correctly necessarily which of these is the correct function. So if you notice, of course, these two are out, B and D. Now A and C look similar, but if you notice where it goes flat, it's a little bit below the x-axis, and that's this problem here. So we would choose C, and then check answer again. That's it. Okay, so good taste of just essential graphing tools using the TI calculator. And yeah, this is a calculator-driven course, so make sure you get a hold of a calculator whenever you as soon as possible. Okay, take care. Feel free to send me any more questions.